Well, intention is such a complicated topic for me because my experience is that intention relative to anything that I make is something that keeps changing. My first intention is to go to the studio and make something. Never mind what, just get there and get to work, which I do every day. I go to the studio. I don't go in with an idea that I then execute. The execution is a process that keeps, the focus of which keeps changing. But with this particular group of works, I've started with a photograph. Either I took or which I found in a box of family photographs. In this group of works, there are three ways that I've been rendering those images. One is this with a silhouette painted black. It's amazing how much information can be found just in that simple image. And a drawing with pencil, and another is drawing with pastels. I've decided to just layer flat things, flat images of people as it might be, or that technique is actually much more widespread than the heritage of the Renaissance. Almost all non-Western art works that way. I think it's kind of interesting because instead of rendering space, I've decided to try to render time. Time is my topic. Then the next thing for me has been to give it a context, not a spatial context, as I just said, but some other kind of context, some kind of graphic context, something to direct the audience to some particular emotion or feeling or So you have an image, a person, somebody standing by the side of a stop sign or by a tree or whatever. It's not about that person. It's not about that scene necessarily, but it's the scene is about something. And that's the skill of photography. That's the skill of art. Actually, I do have one piece called Morning in the show, M-O-U-R-N-I-N-G, which came from a photograph that I took outside the Supreme Court building on the days after the death of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I just picked two figures out of a crowd. Very unusual for me to do that. It is an example of something that was made over the past 2 years, which have been very, very eventful, particularly last year. Impossible to ignore things going around us. Hard to ignore. And I think it's always the role of an artist to kind of internalize these kinds of things. Although in my lengthy career, I have never been a political artist. I've never been interested in expressing those things, but it's impossible to ignore. Yes, I started out with the silhouette on the left, which is from a photograph that my son took about 20 years ago or more. One thing I was working with at the time is having a figure and then having an image that might be understood as an old photograph. That image is a picture I took about 2 years ago in The Hague, and it's of my son riding his bicycle in a park. Then I inserted the figure in pencil, the lower right part, and that is a picture of my father. And so, as it turns out, there are 3 generations of Livingstons in that photograph. I don't know, it's not that important because it isn't really who, but it is about memory.